everybody and anybody out there that's listening. Welcome back to episode 7 of This Is Why I Drink. I'm here with my man Shawshank Redemption. You're a trooper holding up
That's
right now.
my new thing.
You're about to fall asleep. Wait, you're clearing your throat?
I'm seriously about to fall asleep.
I know, I can tell. We'll get this done quick. We won't really. And CJ over here, he's feeling a little toasty. He's liking this cognac. Welcome back.
What's going on?
All right. Gentlemen, raise the glasses.
Let's get it.
And my name is Jeremy, folks. Welcome to This Is Why I Drink. All right. So, guys, we've, well done. Yeah, you slowed down. Probably a smart move.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right. You know what I love about the last 2 episodes is the fact that we, during the first 4, we had a really, really set structure, and we needed to. You know, we had to go after personal experiences of discrimination and racism from both of you guys. We had to dive into the actual dictionary definition of the word because the fact that it has nothing to do with skin color. And people throw that out there all the time. Does it say common traits? Yeah. Well, and then we dove into why do we focus on skin color? Because it's easy, as Shah said. You know, we talked about in episode 4, we talked about the ghetto doesn't need to stay the ghetto. We talked about how, you know, racism in the ghetto sells, that if they stop being that, what are musicians going to rap about? What's Hollywood going to make movies about? That fear and division sell, and they do. I mean, fear makes more money than anything else out there. Then in episode 5, CJ came in and I wanted to throw it to him talking about how you guys are both about to fall asleep.
Oh, no, I was stretching my neck.
Okay, got it.
Necklace.
All right. See, Shaw's over here rubbing his chest. Anyway, you're on camera this time. You know that, right? Keep rubbing that. Anyway, but in episode 5, CJ came in and talked about how he believes that a lot of racism or slavery was a choice, that you didn't have to stay in it. You did because you chose to. These things are huge. You know, and we've talked about ways to clean up the ghetto, to start taking personal accountability for what you currently have, what you really want, and instead of making dumb decisions with the cards you've been dealt, making better decisions. And that everybody's going to screw up every now and again, yet don't constantly make excuses for it. I mean, we've gone full circle on so many levels, and the crazy part is, since we recorded the first 4 before we got back together now, I've had multiple conversations with people and they said, oh, so what is part of what you do? You know, and I tell them we just launched a podcast. They're like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then I go into detail about how I've got, you know, my buddy Shah, who's Pakistani and Muslim. I've got CJ, half black, half Mexican. We'll get into the religious side later on. And you've got me, a bald ginger. And that, I think that's probably one of the best mixes I could ever imagine. And it's funny because the split, when I tell them what we've talked about, has been 50-50. Some people are like, you guys are really on to something here. I like that. No, that's great that you're so open about it and you take it from such a basic approach about just being good people and taking accountability for yourself. And then the other side of that 50% is I tell them, I go in, once I hit the points about how racism and the ghetto make money, whether it be politically, Hollywood, or in the music industry, it's hysterical to me to listen to them and have them say, well, I think that that's a little cynical. And I go, why is that cynical? Well, to say that, you know, everybody's out for themselves just to make a buck. Everybody's out for themselves. I don't like that. And then when I say, okay, and I start going into detail about simple, basic things about people, you know, just keeping their places clean. Clean it. Even though your 2 neighbors to the sides might not clean their yard, you're still keeping yours clean. Starting potential community weekends to clean stuff up like we used to back when I was a kid. It's funny as hell because those same people that called me cynical for saying that people are only out for themselves to make a buck, when I tell them about ideas that are fundamental and basic and simple to execute, then all of a sudden they come back with, well, that's gonna be a long haul. That's gonna be a long putt. I mean, you know, if people aren't incentivized, are they really gonna do it? And I'm sitting here going, who's actually fucking cynical? Somebody that sees the forest for the trees on how certain industries are making money, on how certain groups are being kept essentially under a thumb, or somebody who says, yeah, that's too much work. Who's the real cynical person? To me, it's the person saying it's too much work to change it.
Yeah.
Versus somebody who's saying, I recognize the problem and I don't give a shit if I got to make that putt 1,000 times. If it goes in once, we're changing the game.
Yeah, right.
You see what I'm saying?
No.
So it cracks me up. And that you guys kind of at the end of the last one had a little, once we took a break, had a little bit of a free for all right there. So I am very, very happy with how it's come full circle to bringing back what we started talking about with personal experiences and accountability. Because again, I'll say it till the day is long. 3 character traits. If we can start injecting 3 character traits back into individuals in society, humility, self-awareness, and personal accountability without justification, we're going to start changing some stuff. The only other thing I've heard to the negative is, and I think you guys will get a kick out of this, is, well, don't you think what you're telling people is, don't you think you're telling them how to think? I feel, this was literally the phrase, I feel like what you're saying is telling people how to think versus letting them think for themselves. I had to hold back from going, have you watched fucking TV? Have you seen a commercial?
Have you been to school?
Yeah, have you been to school? Have you watched a movie? Have you listened to a song? Everything is sales. Mm-hmm. Would you rather sell somebody on something that's going to build unity? True, not this bullshit propaganda, true unity. Or would you rather just say, well, I don't like being told how to think? Well, you're told how to think every fucking day by somebody. I would just like to believe that maybe we're on a path that's going to help people start understanding how to think together. Because anybody, forgive me before I let y'all go, anybody that says, well, I'm free thinking, no, you're not. Free thinking stopped the moment we put one human being in a position of leadership at the beginning of civilization. Once we had one leader, free thinking ended. You may have critical thinking. You may have deductive reasoning. Your ass is not a free thinker. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody in today's society is a quote-unquote free thinker. You guys wouldn't agree with me if you were completely independently free thinking. We would constantly be at odds. We would never get along. Because that's free thinking. Now, if you want to talk about I'm free to make the choice on what I believe, 100% agree.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So 100% agree on that. Free thinking, that shit hasn't existed for damn near millennia. Seriously. The moment that one human being was put in a leadership position and everybody else followed, free thinking ended. And I the only reason I'm bringing that up the way that I am right now is because, guys, not you, whoever's listening out there, understand, you're not a free thinker, okay? You have the opportunity to critically think, deductively reason, and then choose what mode of thinking you believe and quote-unquote feel is best. Beyond that, you're not a free thinker. End of story. We wouldn't have churches. We wouldn't have mosques. We wouldn't have political institutions. We wouldn't have schools if we were all truly free thinkers. Because ultimate free thinking leads to chaos and idiocy. Let's call a spade a spade. That's what it does. Shah, you gonna make it? Mm-hmm. You sure? Mm-hmm. He's twitching. Okay. I'm gonna shut up now. CJ, you had a few different things that were going through your mind when we ended the last one. Just
talk about it.
All right, go for it.
Got you. So the way I think about, because I know we were talking about, to keep away the ghetto being the ghetto, and I think it's definitely a two-way street. And I'm gonna get into how the people who live in those communities, what they need to do on their part, and what the people who have, I guess who police it and all this other stuff, what other people living outside of the communities can do to help as well, because I think it's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
So with that, and the ghetto at the end of the day is just a name. It doesn't mean we can call it the ghetto for all we want. And if we call it the ghetto, that doesn't mean it has to look a certain way.
Fact.
It can be clean, all sort of stuff, and we still call it the ghetto. The ghetto is just a name. So start off with that, and just going off of different stuff that's the foundation of different ghettos and lower income communities. A lot of times we're the ones that's taken advantage of, and again, it plays on both sides. So with that being said, I'll just go into the prison system within itself. We incarcerate people, and the way that the living conditions that those people are in, yes, I believe those people, it all depends on what you believe in. Do those people need to be tortured or be set in a place where they can be what's the word?
Rehabilitated.
Okay.
So what you're saying is, if I may, real quick, because obviously I know we're all. It's been a long day. I appreciate you guys coming in later to do this than last time. Shah, a couple sips in a brew, and you're ready for nappy time. I'm gonna give you shit anyway. And so what you're really getting at is that a prison system should be one of two things, or at least being better ran in the sense that those, say, murderers, and I'm talking like legit homicidal murderers, torture. Okay, I'm serious. That's what you're really saying. Am I wrong? And then the other ones that are, say, like sex offenders and things like that. Just okay. Those people, there's no chance of them being rehabilitated. I don't care what anybody says when it comes to. If you are a sex offender, if you actively murdered another human being that was not actually in, legitimate self-defense, are you really mentally going to be able to get rehabilitated?
Yeah.
There's no way. So, and then what you're saying is, say somebody who's a thief, so on and so forth, on the other side, let's do everything possible to try to rehabilitate this human being, correct? Am I on point with this or not?
To some degree. Okay. The only thing I disagree on is I think everybody should be rehabilitated, and I feel like everybody could, because, and it goes back to what we said in the last one, how we don't understand how to. Somebody gives me hate. The only way to fix that, give them love. It may take them a couple times and stuff like that, but you're not going to fix the problem, because we build these animals in these prisons and then we let them out into the world. Where do we let them out in? To that same community they just left from, and then that builds a cycle. And the community never changed after they left. After they left. And so, and then you get these, once they leave the prison, they're dealt all these cards and all this different stuff, and it's hard to get going after that. And not only that, the card, give them those cards, but also to give them the characteristics and the mindset to believe that they can now make a difference. Whereas when you cage them in and all this stuff and treat them like animals, they're gonna act like animals once they get out into that world. Okay, if I may, and I apologize, I don't want to interrupt you. It's a question. At what point do you think you should stop trying to rehabilitate? Because I don't care what anybody says. And people may look at me like, oh yeah, middle class white guy, privilege, whatever. Dude, I'm the most hated motherfucker in America right now. Let's call a spade a spade. Where, at what point do you say this person is unwilling to change? Right. This person does not want to be rehabilitated based on their actions over and over and over again. At what point would CJ cut the cord and say, okay, this person, you're never getting out, you're never going to be rehabilitated? Because if you want to rehabilitate everybody, there still has to be a cut-off point
for somebody who is showing that they just aren't ever going to get it.
That I actually agree on. There is a cutoff point. What I think the cutoff point is you definitely keep them in there, but all the things that's going on inside of there, it's still not. You're still treating that person like an animal. Do I believe that he should be out and and let him go back into the world? No, there is a cutoff point on that, but you still treat that person like a human being at the end of the day. Okay, now, quick question. If they show that they are not willing to be rehabilitated on any scale, and when, God, I hate saying that, on any scales, it leaves way too much to semantics. If they show they're not willing to actually be rehabilitated to the point that they are going to go out into society and not do the same shit, ultimately. At what point do we say they're a human being? I get it. They're not ever going to be somebody that we want to let out because they're going to cause more harm. Yeah. Why are they still alive? I mean, I don't think you. I don't think you kill. I think you. It's gonna sound kind of bad. No, what I'm saying. You can let them die in there. I mean, at that point. That's what I'm saying. Is so at that point, do we bring back capital punishment for certain things? Do we just let them rot and then say, "Hey, this animal died in its cage"? Do you see where I'm going? Because there are so many ways that one, privatized prison systems make a shit ton of money. Let's call a spade on that. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. Number two, you're bringing into the point that now but everybody's a human being. At some point, you chose not to be one. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you're not genetically a human being. I'm saying you chose to forego your quote-unquote privilege. I'm not going to say right. Yeah. I'm going to say privilege when you either murdered another human being, when you constantly committed the same crime over and over again, and then you want to sit there and say, I'm a caged animal? At what point do we say enough is enough? We're not going to continuously just let these people milk off of the system and get...
Ignore me.
Oh, I have no... I was like... I
just had to put it down.
Okay, sorry. At what point do we say, we're not going to let this person essentially have a free room and 3 meals when we've got actual veterans who are homeless? Yeah. Do you see why I'm saying that? That one right there is mucky, and you got to be a stubborn son of a bitch that's going to have to be willing to make some tough calls and be hated to make change. Yeah, I agree, and I think for the first time, which is crazy, I think this is the first time like we've disagreed on an actual topic. Which, I mean, we all have our own thinking and stuff like that, but I think and that's a great point. What you say, we give these privileges and stuff, like not necessarily privileges like you said, but like do we give these meals and this housing for this person when he's acting like an animal? Yeah. But not give it to the veterans who are homeless and stuff like that. I still think the homeless thing is just we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. I think there's still ways to fix that and still treat this person like a human. I'm not saying let him out into the world, but I just my point of view, I think I would just let him rot in there. Okay, so still treat him correctly. Correctly as what? And I'm playing devil's advocate to the point that this individual has given up every single opportunity and privilege to actually be shown respect, other than the fact that they're still fucking breathing. Yeah. And here's the thing too. I'm speaking off the fact that nobody in my family that I know of has been killed by another human being. Yeah. Maybe stabbed, they've never been killed. So are you actually being serious about that? Yeah, yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. So with me, like I've never had to deal with which a lot of
this gang on gang violence, it's just a big old cycle with that stuff.
Okay.
As far as, oh, you shot my brother, bet we're about to go shoot your brother, and it just keeps on the cycle. And that's why, going back to the topic of ghetto being a ghetto, that's something that's
ghetto law.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, right. You gotta there's a song called "That's Law." Who does that? It's not Gucci Mane. Who is that? People are gonna hate me. Kevin Gates. I don't know. Somebody. Anyway,
you should know that is not necessarily my genre by this point in our conversation.
Not even Shah would know before I did.
Yeah, not me. Don't look at me.
But that's something that we fall victim to. Is that whole I'm gonna get you back, and we never just take one on the chin as a community.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then and just one more thing to go on topic of the two-way street thing. People outside of the community, the state prisons have a contract with. Private prisons have a contract with the states that they have to keep their prisons 96% filled up, occupied, right? And it's just like it's a business.
Yep.
So it's just like why? So if the state is held to that standard, of course they're going to incarcerate as many people because they don't want to pay that. I wouldn't want to pay that.
Yeah.
The extra.
I don't care what anybody says. Everything is a business.
Right.
All right. Everything is a business. Hell, what we're doing right now could potentially turn into a business.
Right.
The three of us are simply sitting here right now because we believe in an opportunity to build something better.
Right.
If we make money on it, great. If we don't, okay.
And that's pretty much what I'm getting at. Like, I understand why there is so much incarceration because they have a requirement that they need to fulfill.
Yep.
So, but getting to the people within the community, we got to get on our shit and take care of what we have at this moment.
That sounds unsanitary. Why'd you?
Right,
I would
take
never.
Care of our shit.
I would. You said get on our shit. I don't ever want to physically climb onto my shit. I don't want to do that. You can smile, Shah. He gets so stiff.
Pause.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just going back with the people living in those communities that we call the ghetto and stuff like that. There's you have Asians and I don't know if I'm saying this right, Indians, and Shah, you can correct me. Like they do a great job of keeping their people together.
Oh,
like they just had a basketball tournament, and I mean,
was it all Middle Easterners?
Yeah, it's like
every one of them.
And it's
seriously
crazy. Like it's probably the best thing that I've seen. Like they are really.
I think.
Do you guys jump higher because you grew up on sand?
I think tying.
You can laugh at that.
It wasn't funny.
Yes, it was.
But no, tying it back to being a cycle.
You said it wasn't funny.
Tying it back to it being a cycle, like, and I mean, CJ talking about having rehab for people being caged up. I mean. Going back to racism, I think racism is generational.
Yeah. Oh, fact.
And so, like, if you grow up in a racist home, you're gonna be racist.
You're gonna have that mentality.
So, what about rehab for people like that have caged mindsets?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And even like it being a cycle. I mean, like you said, as far as the ghetto law, like you kill my brother, I'm gonna kill yours.
Yeah, that shit's got to stop. Like, you got to take one on the chin. If change is what you really want, you got to take that on the chin and be like, you know what, change ain't gonna happen in my generation, but if I take this one on the chin, hopefully the person that killed my brother sees that I don't retaliate and sees that I see why you did that. I understand where we come from. I understand your mindset, but brother, it's bigger than me and you right now. We got kids growing up. Go ahead.
Okay, no. Again, I apologize. It's just some of the things that we say is like to hear another person sitting next to me. Obviously, I've never experienced this. It's part of the reason I love having you here. To say that another human being killed my brother, and I'm going to take that on the chin like you kicked me in the nuts.
Yeah,
that blows my mind. Now, into the wherewithal within that mindset and approach is if somebody can actually start that cycle of saying, hey, you know what? And it's not, to me, the ghetto law thing, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling right now because I'm like, holy fuck, he really just said take it on the chin after somebody killed my brother.
And I mean, that's tough for me to agree to
comprehend.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a matter of I don't think that things need to change. It's a matter of, okay, that would be one of the most amazing human beings I would ever come across in my entire life, to say that I saw the bigger picture of change in my community, meaning more than retaliation and vindication against the person that murdered my brother. Dude, if somebody can do that,
and you're talking, and it's coming from a person that's never had to deal with that, so I could see why I get a lot of backlash from that.
No, it's not backlash. I'm sorry, it's not backlash. It's like, holy shit! If somebody can actually do that, then there's no reason for anybody to say that the ghetto can't stop being the ghetto.
Yeah, and I'm saying, speaking for the people that are listening, because there's probably some people that I know follow me, and they're into the ghetto law. If you look at, okay, if we put it in just a bigger perspective, the laws that the U.S. has got us to this point.
Okay,
the laws that the ghetto has that we follow, that are unwritten laws, got us to the damn point that we're at, which is why our communities are the way that they are.
True.
You got to fix all this damn laws, and you know, if the people that probably are listening, seeing or hearing me say you got to take it on the chin, are probably calling me, you know, pussy, or you ain't about all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, call me what you want, whatever. If you want change,
be the change.
You got to be the change. And I understand one of my favorite rappers of all time is Common, and he has this song that he says, "Loving you is loving me." So if I can love you, then in essence, in retaliation, I'm gonna end up loving me as well, because if I know I show you love in return, you know, eventually, not right off the bat, probably eventually you'll start to show me love, and that's how you get it.
With the word "showing me love," would you agree that so many people interchange love for respect?
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because when they say "show me love, show me love, show me love," I think it's more a matter of respect versus actual love.
Right.
Does that make sense? Because I believe love has to start from a basis of respect. Like, I couldn't literally say I love you guys to tears if I didn't respect you.
Yeah.
I can say I like you. Well, yeah, okay. I think you're a cool guy. Yeah. That's pretty much it. You see where I'm coming from in that regard? So that's when you say "show me love," loving you is loving me, respecting you.
Yeah,
is respecting me. I think that you say love, and they try to say that because it's more universally understood. Where I don't think we teach true quality, fundamental respect enough. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Respect is definitely the foundation.
A fact, absolutely. Because when people say, "Man, you're not respecting me. You're disrespecting me," I'm sitting here going, "Do you actually know what that word means?"
Yes. Yeah.
Or are you just upset because you don't understand what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. So and that's I think part of the reason, if I may, I don't know if I went into this on any of the past episodes. Right out of high school, I spent 2.5 years working in what I would call humanitarian work now at this point in my life. And I've been to Colombia, Brazil, Peru, Mexico, Turkey, Scotland, Honduras, and I've dealt with a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different ethnicities, a lot of individuals that speak tons of different languages, so on and so forth. And honestly, one of my best friends, his name is Larry Jones. If he listens to this, Larry, being able to reconnect with you on Facebook and stuff recently has been a blast, man. You're a good dude. If I ever get back to Kansas in the near future, I'll try to look you up. He's a black guy. He's one of my best friends of all time. And it's just because we didn't give two shits. A lot of people looked at him and said he's not a good influence, and I heard that. And the funny thing is, he was never a bad influence. He wasn't trying to get me to go out and smoke weed. He wasn't trying to get me to go out and get drunk all the time and whatnot. We just hung out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I hear things about ghetto law, when I hear things about Okay. Loving you is loving me, so on and so forth. I don't think I've ever known anything different other than to treat other people the way that I actually want to be treated.
Yeah, that's the simplest way to put it.
And that's probably why I wanted to start this, is because when I see the dregs of the dregs of society that constantly drive that wedge of division, that, you know, I'm going to say it, you know, the stereotypical white people that have never had any financial difficulty, yet they'll listen to gangster rap and hip hop and you know, rap to it and all that, and then you put them around those individuals and they have absolutely no idea how to act around them unless they're drunk or high. That's where the division and respect start, and disrespect, I should say. The division and disrespect starts, because if you can't just talk to them as a human being without those things creating a gray area, because that's what they create in those scenarios, then you're part of the problem to me. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that does. And I think those people, because I listen to that music and I have a totally different mindset on how I handle stuff when it comes to hate and stuff like that. And again, I listen to that music just to get me motivated for, like, you know, weight room and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think that music is okay to a certain extent, right? And I just put myself in that example because I listen to it, but I'm not out here gang banging and over here this, that, and the other. At some point, I got to understand that's music, and they're talking about stuff that they've been through. But I'm not out here acting on those things that they're talking about.
Bingo. So what you're saying is that the music industry should stay in the music industry the majority of the time, and Hollywood should stay in Hollywood.
Right.
That's what you're really saying is, I listen to it, I relate to it, I understand it, yet I'm not going to try to emulate it because it's not good for me to do in my life. Right?
Right.
Okay. Too many people are seeking to connect, and ultimately, instead of being able to build something good and of proper quality, what I think is happening is the only way they know how to connect is through that music, because they haven't ever had what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And they end up emulating that music in real life.
Right. And since we're talking about music too, I just want to get this one thing out before we start to close out. Like I was going back, I never got to finish it, but the whole like Asian communities in Shah, tell me if is it Indian or Pakistan? Both, same thing.
Asia,
so,
okay. I'm going to say.
Go ahead, yeah.
It can essentially be the same.
Okay.
The continent of Asia encompasses every Middle Eastern country, okay, and China, and India. So that's all the continent of Asia.
Okay,
I spent time in Turkey, so trust me, I was in Europe and I was in Asia at the same time.
And I think the tournament you're referring to is mostly Pakistani and Indians.
Okay, so they own their buildings, they own their businesses in the communities they live in, and they employ their own people. And I think that's one thing that the black community that we do not do at all. And that's one thing that's hurting the ghetto, is because you have these rappers. If you want 5 cars, we'll get you 5 cars. But make sure you buy a building in that neighborhood that you grew up in, and you employ your people, because that's the only way we're going to be able to keep the money flowing within those communities.
Give back.
That's the only way you're going to be able to give back.
100%.
And that's one of my biggest issues. One of my favorite rappers, another one of my favorite rappers, Rick Ross. He's bought a lot of Wingstops. Okay, that's fine, but those Wingstops aren't employing your people in those communities 9 times out of 10. And you can't get upset because I was one of those people that would get upset about the whole gentrification thing. At some point, if you're not going to take care of your community, well, damn it, we're going to mix this crowd. We're going to get you guys, we're going to get you guys out of here, and we're going to because they're going to use the whole we're going to clean the ghetto up, but essentially what that's really doing is not helping the people in it. It's just
So what Rick Ross also said, being broke is the root of all evil. Mm-hmm. Well, he's running it like a business. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not, because if you want to rap, you're getting passionate. I can see it in your body.
Yeah.
If you want to rap about those things and then you don't give back to those things, I agree.
I think it's just goes back to being a cycle. Like you said, in the black community, you're taught to support black business but never go into business.
Honestly, I was about to say that.
And like it's a cycle, and you're a caged bird at the end of the day.
Yep.
Who's gonna do it differently?
Yep. True.
And that's, I think, the difference between our community. We have folks that are willing to, like me. I'm not about to do exactly what my parents did. What I mean, and what my family did. It's different times, the different era. And it's okay to be different.
Yep.
And the only way to grow and to be better and do better is to be different.
Fact.
And it's funny you say that, because also too, I was talking to one of our coworkers that we work with. She was talking about how, like, her family, her cousins all had this competition growing up of who was going to be what.
Yeah.
And their family holds their child's future to a standard. Not saying my parents didn't either. Mm-hmm. My parents mostly did, and they did a great job raising me. But at the same time, within our community, I was so focused on not making the same mistakes that my uncle did. I was just, so he's been through so much stuff, and I was just so worried about not getting as low as him. Whereas in y'all's community, it's up here, and you're trying to exceed what they did. And I'm backtracking, just making sure my standard is don't be this and that. Don't go to jail. Don't sell weed, this, that, and the other. Don't do those things. That's what I'm trying to do. Whereas y'all are trying to be doctors, stuff like that. Y'all hold those expectations.
Yeah.
So ours is backwards.
So in my case, it's like, are you, since I'm a college dropout, you know what I mean? Are you going to make it without being a doctor or a lawyer? Mm-hmm. And are you going to prove these people wrong that are saying that you need a degree to be successful? Like, nah, I don't want to be in debt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's
like a good point.
The mindset is generational.
Yeah.
It's something that is planted, watered, and grown accordingly. Now, you either plant it, fertilize it, and water it, and put it in sunshine, or you essentially just let it grow enough to where it looks decent, then you let it die. All right, guys, we're out of here. Appreciate you. This is why I drink, folks. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We ran long, but that was good. We'll talk more.
All right.